Welcome back. And today's topic is the death of grammar and the birth of your fluency. If you are listening to this, it means you are tired. You are tired of opening thick textbooks. You are tired of memorizing rules that you forget the moment you open your mouth to speak. You have spent years studying tenses, prepositions, and articles. Yet when a native speaker looks you in the eye, your mind goes blank. Your heart beats faster, your throat feels tight, and the words just won't come out. I want you to know something very important right now. It is not your fault. You are not bad at English. You have simply been taught using a system that was never designed to make you a speaker. It was designed to make you a student. But starting today, we are changing the game. We are ending the era of studying and beginning the era of acquiring. Welcome to day 1 of your 30-day Fluency Fast track. I am Michael Carter, and for the next 30 days, I am not just your coach. I am your guide through a psychological and linguistic transformation. This series is specially crafted for you, the dreamer in a non-English-speaking country, the professional looking for a global career, and the student who wants to speak as naturally as they breathe. In this first segment, we are going to burn the old bridge to build a new one. We are going to talk about why grammar is actually killing your progress and how you can find fluency in just 30 days using the power of your own mind. Think back to when you were a small child. Think about your first language. Did you sit in a high chair with a pen and a notebook? Did your mother teach you about subject, verb agreement, before you could ask for a glass of water? Of course not. You listened. You observed. You failed 1,000 times, and you were never judged. You absorbed the sounds, the rhythm, and the emotion of the language before you knew a single rule. This is called natural acquisition. The human brain is a massive pattern recognition machine. It is designed to learn languages through immersion and emotion, not through dry formulas. When you study grammar rules, you are training your brain to analyze. Analysis is the enemy of speed. Fluency is about speed. When you speak, you don't have time to think. Is this the present perfect or the past simple? By the time you find the rule, the conversation has moved on. In this 30-day challenge, we are going to bypass the analytical brain and speak directly to your subconscious. We are going to use two powerful tools: the input hypothesis and the shadowing technique. The input hypothesis, developed by Dr. Stephen Krashen, tells us that we improve when we understand messages that are just one level above our current ability. It's not about how much you study, it's about how much comprehensible input you get. If you listen to English that you understand and find interesting, your brain will automatically start to organize the grammar for you. You won't have to learn it, you will know it. This is why our first segment is so critical. We are shifting your focus from the how of the language to the what of the message. Now, let's talk about the 30-day timeline. Why 30 days? Because 30 days is the perfect window to build a neural pathway. It takes roughly a month of consistent practice to tell your brain that this new skill is a matter of survival. During this month, we are going to flood your environment with English. But we are going to do it in a way that feels like a game, not a chore. We are going to move from the silent period to active output. You see, many of you have been in a silent period for years. You understand English when you read it, but you are afraid to speak it. This challenge is designed to break that silence. I want you to imagine yourself 30 days from now. Imagine walking into a room full of people from the USA, the UK, or Australia. Imagine them speaking to you, and instead of feeling that familiar panic, you feel a calm confidence. You hear their words, and your response comes out naturally. Your accent is clearer, your rhythm is smoother, and most importantly, you feel like yourself. You are no longer translating in your head. You are just living in English. That version of you exists. They are waiting at the end of this 30-day journey. So, how do we start today? Your task for day 1 is simple but profound. I want you to stop judging yourself. Every time you make a mistake, I want you to smile. A mistake is proof that you are pushing your boundaries. In English, we say, progress, not perfection. If you wait for your English to be perfect before you speak, you will never speak. But if you speak before you are ready, you will become perfect. Today, I want you to find a piece of English audio. It could be a podcast, a movie scene, or even this narration. Listen to it once. Then, I want you to listen to it again, but this time, try to mimic the sounds. Don't worry about the words yet. Just mimic the music of the voice. Where does the voice go up? Where does it go down? This is the beginning of shadowing. You are training your speech muscles to dance to a new beat. This series is going to be intense. It is going to be motivational. But above all, it is going to be effective. We are going to cover everything, from building a survival vocabulary to mastering the art of storytelling. We will talk about how to deal with the fear of being judged and how to use English to unlock doors of wealth and opportunity that you never thought possible. You are not just learning a language, you are expanding your identity. You are becoming a global citizen. The world is waiting for your voice. Don't let a few grammar rules stand in your way. In our next segment, Segment 2, we will dive deep into the input hypothesis and show you exactly what to listen to so that your brain starts learning while you sleep. I am Michael Carter. This is your first step. This is your day 1. The clock is ticking, and your 30-day transformation has officially begun. Welcome to the fast track. I will see you in the next one. Segment 2: The Power of Input. The Listening Secret. In our first segment, we made a pact to move away from textbooks and rules. We talked about how the analytical brain slows you down. But now, you might be asking, if I don't study grammar, how will I learn? The answer is simple, yet most people ignore it. You learn by listening, not just hearing background noise, but by truly absorbing the language. This is the stage where you stop being a student and start being a sponge. In the world of linguistics, there is a concept called comprehensible input. This is the theory that we acquire language when we understand what is being said, even if we don't understand every single word. Imagine you are watching a movie in a language you don't know. If there are no subtitles and no action, you learn nothing. But if you see a man point to a glass of water and say, "Water," you instantly understand. You didn't need a grammar book to tell you that water is a noun. Your brain made the connection through context. This is the I-100-1 formula. Your current level I'd, plus just a little bit of new information, Al-Swan. The mistake most English learners make is that they try to jump into Ed. They try to watch the news in London or read a complex business journal from New York when they are still at a beginner level. When the input is too hard, your brain gets tired and shuts down. You feel frustrated and you quit. But when the input is comprehensible, meaning you understand about 70% to 80% of it, your brain stays engaged. It starts to play a game of detective, figuring out the remaining 20% based on the context. This is where the magic happens. This is where your subconscious starts to build your fluency for you. For the next 30 days, I want you to stop worrying about your output. For a moment, many of you are obsessed with speaking, but your tank is empty. You cannot pour water from an empty jug. Listening is how you fill your jug. When you listen to high-quality English, you are not just learning words, you are learning collocations, which is a fancy word for how words naturally sit together. You learn that in the USA, we say fast food, not quick food. You learn the music of the language, the stress, the rhythm, and the intonation. You learn when a speaker is being sarcastic, when they are excited, and when they are serious. These are things a textbook can never teach you. I know what some of you are thinking. Michael, I live in a country where no one speaks English. How can I find this input? We live in 2026. The world is at your fingertips. You have podcasts, YouTube, Netflix, and audiobooks. But here is the secret: don't just listen to anything. Listen to what you love. If you love football, watch English football commentary. If you love cooking, follow an English chef. If you love business, listen to entrepreneurs from the UK or America. When you are interested in the topic, your brain forgets it is learning a language. It is just focused on the information. This is called low affective filter learning. When your stress is low and your interest is high, your brain opens up like a flower to the sun. During this 30-day fast track, you must protect your ears. Avoid bad English. Avoid listening to people who speak with very broken grammar or incorrect pronunciation, if you can help it. You want to feed your brain the best possible food. Think of your ears as the gateway to your success. If you want to speak like a millionaire, you must listen to how millionaires speak. If you want to lead like a CEO, listen to how CEOs conduct their meetings. You are the average of the 5 voices you listen to most. Let's talk about the silent period. Again. In the first few days of this challenge, you might feel like you aren't making progress because you aren't speaking better. Yet, be patient. Every hour of listening is like planting a seed underground. You can't see the plant yet, but the roots are growing deep. One day, very soon, those roots will turn into a tree, and the words will start to come out of your mouth without effort. This is the bilingual brain. Being born. Your task for segment 2 is to create your English bubble. For at least 1 hour today, turn off your native language. Put on your headphones and immerse yourself in an English podcast or video that you actually enjoy. Don't try to translate. Don't reach for a dictionary every time you hear a new word. Just listen. Let the sounds wash over you. Try to guess the meaning of new words from the story. This is how you train your intuition. Intuition is what native speakers use. We don't use rules, we use our gut feeling. We say something because it sounds right. Today, you start building that gut feeling. As we move through this 30-day journey, remember, fluency is not a destination, it is a habit. And the most important habit of a fluent speaker is being a world-class listener. You have the ears, now use them. You have the time, now claim it. You have the potential, now unlock it. In our next segment, segment 3, we will talk about the shadowing technique. How to take that input and start turning it into your own voice. We will learn how to muscle train your mouth to speak as fast and as clearly as a native. Keep your ears open and your mind ready. The transformation continues. I will see you in the next one. Segment 3. The shadowing technique. Muscle memory. In our last segment, we filled your tank with high-quality input. You've started to build your English bubble. And you're training your brain to recognize the music of the language. But there is a huge gap between understanding a word and speaking it fluently. Have you ever known exactly what you wanted to say in your head, but when you opened your mouth, the words got stuck? It's like your tongue and your brain are speaking two different languages. This happens because speaking is not just a mental act, it is a physical one. Today, we stop being students of language and start being athletes of speech. To be fluent, you must train your mouth muscles. Your tongue, your lips, and your jaw have spent your entire life moving in a specific way to produce your native language. When you try to speak English, those muscles are out of shape. They aren't used to the vibrations and the shapes of English sounds. This is why you feel tired after speaking English for 10 minutes. This is why you have an accent that feels heavy. The solution isn't more grammar. The solution is shadowing. What is shadowing? Imagine you are walking behind someone in the dark. Every move they make, you make. If they turn left, you turn left. If they stop, you stop. You are their shadow. In language learning, shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say at the same time, or with a very short delay, usually just a fraction of a second. You don't wait for them to finish the sentence. You follow them like a shadow. You aren't just repeating words. You are mimicking their speed, their emotion, their pauses, and their rhythm. This technique is used by professional interpreters and polyglots around the world because it bypasses the translation part of your brain. When you shadow, you don't have time to think about rules. You don't have time to wonder why a certain verb is used. You are forced to focus on the sounds. You are literally rewiring your brain to connect hearing and speaking in one direct loop. It is the fastest way to develop what we call automaticity, the ability to speak without thinking. Let's look at how to do this correctly for your 30-day challenge. First, find a short audio clip of a native speaker from the USA or the UK. It should be someone whose voice you like. Listen to the clip once to understand the message. Then, put on your headphones and start the audio again. As soon as the speaker starts, you start. Try to match their pace perfectly. If they go fast, you go fast. If they whisper, you whisper. Don't worry if you miss a few words at first. This isn't a reading test, it's a rhythm test. You are training your mouth to dance to the beat of English. The most important part of shadowing is intonation. Most English learners speak in a flat way, like a robot. But English is a musical language. We use stress to show meaning. We make some words long and loud, and we make other words short and quiet. If you change the stress, you change the meaning. By shadowing, you naturally absorb these patterns. You start to sound more natural and less academic. You begin to sound like someone who belongs in a boardroom in London or a tech hub in California. I want you to think about a professional athlete. A basketball player like LeBron James or a footballer like Cristiano Ronaldo. Do they spend all day reading books about how to throw a ball? No. They go to the gym, and they repeat the same movement 10,000 times until their muscles remember it. That is what you are doing with your voice. You are building muscle memory. After a few days of shadowing, you will notice something incredible. Phrases will start to pop out of your mouth automatically. You won't have to search for the words. The muscles in your mouth will simply know where to go. Many people in non-English-speaking countries feel stuck because they have no one to talk to. They say, "Michael, I don't have a partner to practice with." Shadowing is the answer to that problem. You don't need a partner. You have the world's best speakers in your pocket. You can shadow a CEO's speech, a movie character's monologue, or even this very narration. You are never alone when you have a voice to shadow. This is the ultimate self-practice tool that will put you ahead of 99% of other learners. In this 30-day fast track, consistency is your only requirement. I want you to spend at least 15 minutes a day on shadowing. It will feel strange at first. Your jaw might even get a little sore. That's good! That means you are working muscles that have been sleeping for years. You are waking up your English voice. Don't be afraid to look silly. Lock yourself in a room. Put on your headphones and talk to yourself. The people who are brave enough to look stupid in private are the ones who look brilliant in public. As we conclude segment 3, remember that fluency is a physical skill. You are training your body as much as your mind. You are breaking the old chains of your native sounds and stepping into a new identity. You are becoming a person who doesn't just know English, but someone who is English when they speak. Your task for today is simple. Take 3 minutes of any English audio and shadow it 5 times. Notice the difference between the first time and the 5th time. Notice how much smoother your tongue moves. This is progress. This is the blueprint. In our next segment, segment 4, we will talk about the silent period and the first words. How to handle the frustration of not being able to say everything you want yet, and how to choose the right words to start your journey. Train your muscles, trust the process, and I will see you in the next one. Segment 40. The silent period and your first words. Managing the frustration of growth. We are nearly a week into your 30-day transformation. By now, you've stopped obsessing over grammar. You've started listening to comprehensible input. You've even begun the physical work of shadowing. But right now, some of you are hitting a wall. You feel like you're doing the work, but when you try to speak, the words still feel heavy. You feel a sense of frustration. You think, I understand everything Michael is saying, but why can't I say it back? I want you to take a deep breath. What you are experiencing right now is not failure. It is a biological necessity called the silent period. In linguistics, the silent period is the time when a learner is building their internal map of the language, but is not yet ready to produce it. Think of a baby. A baby spends a full year, sometimes more, just listening. They don't speak a word, but they are not doing nothing. Their brain is working at 100% capacity, cataloging sounds, recognizing patterns, and building the foundation of their entire life's communication. You are currently in that same phase. Your brain is loading. If you try to force a computer to run a program before it's finished loading, it crashes. If you try to force yourself to speak perfect English before your silent period is over, your confidence crashes. The biggest reason people quit learning English in non-English speaking countries is that they have no patience for the silence. They want results on day 4. They want to sound like a native speaker after 1 week. When they don't, they tell themselves, I'm just not a language person. This is a lie. You are a language person. You already speak 1 language fluently. You just need to respect the process. Frustration is actually a good sign. In English, we say that frustration is the growing pains of the brain. It means your brain is hungry. It means you are aware of the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The only way to close that gap is to keep feeding the brain the right input. Do not let the frustration turn into arrogance or apathy. Don't think you're too good for the basics, and don't stop caring. Just keep moving. So, how do we begin to speak our first words during this 30-day fast track? We do it by lowering the stakes. In the USA, when we build a massive skyscraper. We don't start with the glass windows and the luxury furniture. We start with the foundation and the scaffolding. Your first words in English should be your scaffolding. Don't try to explain your philosophy on life yet. Start with high-frequency phrases. Did you know that in English, about 300 to 500 words make up nearly 70% of all daily conversations? If you master these core words, you can survive almost any situation. Instead of learning big, academic words to look smart, learn the functional words. Learn how to say, "I agree with you. Can you explain that? I'm looking for." And, "What do you think?" These are the bricks of your house. During this silent period, I want you to practice low stakes output. This means talking to yourself when no one is watching. Describe your day in very simple sentences. I am drinking coffee. The sun is bright. I am tired today. This might feel stupid or too easy, but you are doing something vital. You are breaking the silence. You are proving to your subconscious that it is safe to speak. You are teaching your vocal cords to vibrate in English without the fear of being judged by others. Managing frustration is 90% psychology. You must change the story you tell yourself. Instead of saying, "I can't speak English," say, "I am in my silent period, and my brain is preparing for a breakthrough." Instead of saying, "This is too hard," say, "This is a challenge that is making me stronger." Words have power. The English words you say about yourself are just as important as the English words you use to talk to others. If you are listening to this in a country where you don't hear English on the street, the frustration can be even higher. You feel isolated. But remember, you have a global community. You have this series. You have the internet. You are not alone. You are part of a new generation of global speakers who are taking control of their own education. As we finish segment 4, I want you to do a frustration check. On a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrated do you feel? Whatever the number is, accept it. Then, I want you to go back to your input and your shadowing with a new sense of peace. The words are coming. They are forming in the back of your mind right now. They are just waiting for the right moment to step out. Your task for today: speak 10 simple sentences about what you see around you right now. Don't worry about being fancy. Just speak. Break the silence. Let the first words be simple. Let them be messy, but let them be yours. In our next segment, segment 5, we will hit the halfway point of our 30-day journey. We will talk about the vocabulary of power, how to choose the words that will give you the most return on investment, and make you sound like a leader, even with a limited vocabulary. I am Michael Carter. Honor the silence, manage your heart, and I will see you in the next one. Segment 50. The vocabulary of power. Mastering high ROI words. We have officially reached the halfway point of your 30-day transformation. If you have been consistent with the first 4 segments, your brain is no longer a stranger to English sounds. You've started to build your English bubble. You've trained your speech muscles with shadowing and you've learned to manage the frustration of the silent period. But now, we need to talk about the quality of the words you use. You see, many English learners make the mistake of thinking that more is better. They try to memorize thousands of words from a dictionary, hoping that a large vocabulary will make them sound fluent. In the world of Michael Carter, we don't work hard for nothing. We focus on ROI, return on investment. In every language, and especially in English, the 80-20 rule applies. Roughly 80% of all successful communication comes from just 20% of the vocabulary. If you are living in a non-English-speaking country, and your goal is to land a job in London, close a deal in New York, or lead a team in Dubai, you don't need a million words. You need the power words. These are the words that carry weight. These are the words that command respect. These are the words that make you sound like a leader, even if your sentences are short. Today, we are going to upgrade your word bank with high-value assets. The first step in building a power vocabulary is the death of the word very. This is one of the biggest markers of an intermediate learner. When you are tired, you say, very tired. When something is important, you say, very important. When a problem is big, you say, very big. Using very is like eating plain white bread. It's filler, and it's boring. A person of influence uses precise, colorful, and strong words. Instead of very important, use crucial, essential, or vital. Instead of very big, use massive, immense, or substantial. Instead of very good, use exceptional or outstanding. When you replace very with a single powerful word, you immediately sound more sophisticated. You show the world that you have a sharp mind and a rich vocabulary. The second category of high ROI words is precision verbs. In the global business world, people value action and clarity. Using weak verbs like do, make, or get makes your speech feel weak. If you want to sound like a millionaire, you need to use verbs that show ownership and results. Instead of saying, I did the project, say, I executed the project. Instead of, I made the plan, say, I formulated the strategy. Instead of, I got the results, say, I attained the objectives. These words change the perception of who you are. They move you from being a worker to being an architect. In English, we say your words create your reality. If you use powerful verbs, people will believe you are a powerful person. Next, we must master the connectors. These are the words that act as the glue for your thoughts. Many learners can speak in simple sentences, but they sound like a robot. I went to the meeting. I talked to the client. They liked it. To reach true fluency, you must learn to bridge your ideas. High ROI connectors like however, moreover, consequently, and furthermore are essential. These words tell your listener that you are thinking logically. They give your speech a flow that is characteristic of native speakers in the USA and the UK. Even if the rest of your sentence is simple, using a connector like consequently makes you sound like a professional who understands cause and effect. For those of you practicing in non-English speaking environments, I want you to build what I call your survival power phrases. These are pre-packaged sentences that you can use in any situation to maintain control. Instead of saying, "I don't understand," say, "Could you please elaborate on that point?" Instead of saying, "I think you are wrong," say, "I see your perspective. However, I have a different approach." These phrases are high leverage assets. You learn them once, and you can use them for the next 40 years to navigate difficult conversations with grace and authority. We also need to talk about filler words. Many of you use or, when you are thinking. This kills your power. It makes you look nervous. A true leader is not afraid of silence. If you forget a word, don't fill the gap with noise. Just pause. A 3-second pause in English is a power move. It tells the listener that you are comfortable in your own skin. It gives your previous words time to sink in. In our 30-day challenge, we are training you to use silence as a weapon. Your vocabulary is your war chest. If you are going into a battle for a better life, you don't want to carry rusty, old, useless tools. You want the sharpest instruments available. Most people waste time learning words they will never use. Don't be most people. Be the person who masters the words that matter. Whether you are in a boardroom or a coffee shop, the way you choose your words tells the world exactly how much you are worth. As we finish segment 5, I want you to reflect on your progress. You have made it halfway through the most intense English challenge of your life. You have the ears, you have the muscles, you have the mindset, and now you are getting the ammunition. Today, your task is to choose 5 weak words you use every day and find 3 power alternatives for each. Write them down. Say them out loud. Use them in your shadowing session. You are no longer just an English learner. You are an English communicator. You are becoming a person who speaks with intent and leads with words. In our next segment, segment 6, we will talk about the sound of success. We are going to dive into pronunciation and rhythm. We are going to smooth out the rough edges of your accent so that when you speak, people don't just listen to your words. They feel your confidence. I am Michael Carter. Choose your words, master your power, and I will see you in the next one. Segment 60, The Sound of Success, Mastering Pronunciation and Rhythm. We have passed the halfway mark of our 30-day journey. You've built your English bubble, you've trained your speech muscles, and you've upgraded your power vocabulary. But there is one thing that often holds back even the smartest English learners: the fear of their own accent. Many people in non-English speaking countries feel ashamed of how they sound. They think, if I don't sound like I was born in London or New York, people won't respect me. I am here to tell you that is a lie. Success doesn't require you to lose your identity. It requires you to be clear and rhythmic. In English, we have a saying: it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Today we are focusing on the acoustics of authority. You see, English is a stress-timed language. This is different from many other languages, which are syllable-timed. In syllable-timed languages, every beat is equal. But English is like music. It has a drum beat. We stress the important words and we squeeze the unimportant ones. If you speak English with the rhythm of your native language, you might be using the right words, but you will sound foreign and hard to understand. To sound successful, you must master the rhythm of the 1%. The first secret to the sound of success is word stress. Every English word with more than one syllable has a queen syllable, a syllable that is louder, longer, and higher in pitch. If you stress the wrong syllable, native speakers from the USA or UK will struggle to understand you. For example, look at the word economy. The stress is on the second syllable e, economy, but in the word economy, the stress moves economic. When you master word stress, you stop sounding like a student reading from a book and start sounding like a leader who owns the language. The second secret is the schwa gauges. This is the most common sound in the English language, yet almost no one teaches it in schools. The schwa is that lazy, neutral sound. It happens in the unstressed parts of a word. For example, in the word teacher, the or at the end is a schwa. In the word amazing, the at the beginning is a schwa. If you try to pronounce every letter clearly, you will sound like a robot. To sound fluent, you must learn to be lazy with the unimportant sounds so that the power words can shine. This is how you develop that smooth, natural flow that characterizes high-level communication. Now, let's talk about intonation. This is the melody of your speech. In the business world, intonation is a tool of persuasion. If your voice goes up at the end of every sentence, you sound like you are asking a question. You sound uncertain. You sound weak. A leader's voice usually falls at the end of a statement. This is called a falling intonation. It signals authority. It signals that you are sure of what you are saying. When you say, "This is the best strategy for our company," your voice should drop at the end. This simple change in your sound can be the difference between closing $1 million deal and being ignored. For those of you practicing in non-English speaking environments, you might worry about your accent. Let me give you a piece of Michael Carter advice. Clarity is more important than accent. An accent is just a sign that you speak more than one language. It is a sign of intelligence. Your goal in these 30 days is not to hide where you are from. It is to ensure that every word you speak is crystal clear. We do this through enunciation. Don't be afraid to move your mouth. English requires more lip and jaw movement than many other languages. If you mumble, you lose your power. Speak as if you are standing on a stage, even if you are just talking to your mirror. In this 30-day fast track, we are also working on connected speech. Native speakers don't speak word by word. We link words together. We say, "I'm Anna," instead of "I am going to." We say, "What cha doin'?" instead of "What are you doing?" This is not slang. This is how the language naturally flows. In your shadowing sessions this week, I want you to pay extra attention to how words bleed into each other. Try to catch the links. This is the final polish on your English diamond. Remember, your voice is an instrument. If you want to play at a world-class level, you have to tune that instrument. You have to practice the scales. You have to understand the tempo. When you master the sound of English, you unlock a new level of confidence. You stop worrying about how you sound and you start focusing on what you want to achieve. Your English becomes a bridge, not a barrier. As we finish segment 6, I want you to do a voice recording. Record yourself speaking for 1 minute. Listen to it. Don't be self-critical, be analytical. Do you hear the rhythm? Do you hear the stress? Is your voice falling at the end of your sentences? Today, your task is to shadow a native speaker specifically for their intonation. Don't worry about the words, just try to hum the tune of their sentences. You are moving past the halfway mark. The transformation is becoming visible. You are no longer just learning English, you are performing it. You are developing the sound of success. In our next segment, segment 7, we will talk about the art of thinking in English. How to stop the mental translation and finally flip the switch in your brain so that English becomes your first thought, not your second. Speak with rhythm, lead with clarity, and I will see you in the next one. Segment 70, Thinking in English. Flipping the mental switch. We have entered the final stretch of your 30-day transformation. By now, you've trained your ears, your mouth muscles, and your vocabulary. But there is one final, invisible wall that stands between you and true fluency. It is the wall of mental translation. Many of you are still translating in your head. You hear an English sentence, you translate it into your native language to understand it, then you think of a response in your native language, and finally, you try to translate that response back into English. This process is exhausting. It's slow, and it's why you hesitate, use ohms and ahs, and feel like your brain is lagging behind the conversation. Today, we are going to flip the switch. We are going to train your brain to go directly from thought to English. Thinking in English is not a gift you are born with. It is a habit you build. For those of you living in non-English-speaking countries, this is the most powerful weapon you can have. When you think in English, you aren't just using a language, you are living it. You stop being a spectator and start being a participant. The reason you translate right now is that your brain is still treating English as a code that needs to be cracked. We need to move English from your analytical room to your automatic room. We need to make English your brain's operating system for at least a few hours every day. So, how do we do it? We start small. You cannot start by thinking about complex philosophy in English. You start with labeling. Look around your room right now. Don't think. Think. Book. Don't think. Think. Table. As you go through your day, Start narrating your actions in your head like a movie character. I am waking up now. I am making coffee. I need to call my client. This might seem simple, but you are building a direct neural pathway between an object or an action and the English word. You are cutting out the middleman of your native language. The second step is internal monologue. We all have a voice in our head that talks to us all day. Usually, that voice speaks in your mother tongue. For the next week of this challenge, I want you to force that voice to speak English. When you are planning your day, do it in English. First, I will check my emails. Then, I will go for a walk. When you are angry or excited, express it internally in English. This is incredible. Or, I can't believe this is happening. When you speak to yourself in English, there is no one there to judge you. There is no fear of making a mistake. It is the safest laboratory in the world to test your fluency. Another powerful technique is guessing the gap. When you are listening to a podcast or watching a movie as part of your input habit, try to predict what the speaker will say next before they say it. This forces your brain to stay in English mode. It trains your brain to expect English patterns. If you guess correctly, it gives your brain a hit of dopamine, which makes the English switch stay on longer. You must also stop using bilingual dictionaries. If you want to think in English, you must define English words using other English words. When you look up a translation, you are strengthening the bridge back to your native language. When you use an English to English dictionary, you are staying inside the English bubble. It might be harder at first, but this is how you develop a deep vocabulary. You start to understand the feeling of a word, not just its meaning. Why is this so important for your success? Because in a high-stakes meeting or a fast-paced interview, you don't have the CPU power to translate. Your brain needs every bit of energy to focus on the strategy, the negotiation, and the emotion of the moment. If you are busy translating, how are you? You will miss the billion-dollar opportunity that comes next. A millionaire mindset requires a fast mind, and a fast mind does not translate. In this 30-day fast track, Segment 7 is your internal revolution. For the next 24 hours, I want you to try to catch yourself every time you think in your native language and flip the switch. Even if you can only do it for 5 minutes, that is 5 minutes of pure fluency. Over time, those 5 minutes will become 5 hours, and eventually, it will become your natural state. You will find yourself dreaming in English. You will find yourself accidentally speaking English to your friends. That is the moment you know you've won. As we finish Segment 7, remember that your mind is your most powerful tool. If you can win the battle inside your head, the battle outside, the speaking, the job interviews, the public speaking becomes easy. You are no longer trying to speak English. You are a person who thinks and speaks in English. Your task for today: narrate your next 1 hour of activity entirely in your head using English. from the moment you put down your phone to the moment you finish your next task. Keep the switch on. In our next segment, Segment 8, we will talk about the art of storytelling. How to take your thoughts and turn them into compelling narratives that capture attention and move people to action. We are going to move from basic English to charismatic English. Flip the switch, own your mind, and I will see you in the next one. Segment 8. The art of storytelling. Mastering charismatic English. We are now in the home stretch. You've mastered the mental switch. You've trained your muscles, and you've built a power vocabulary. But there is a difference between someone who speaks English and someone people want to listen to. In the world of business, leadership, and high-level social circles, facts tell, but stories sell. If you want to be a millionaire, if you want to be a leader, you cannot just be a speaker of words. You must be a weaver of stories. Most English learners stay at the information level. They describe things. I went to the office. I had a meeting. I came home. This is boring. It doesn't build a connection. It doesn't show charisma. Charisma in English comes from your ability to paint a picture with your words. It's about taking a simple event and turning it into an experience. Whether you are in a job interview in the USA or presenting a project in the UK, your ability to tell a story is what makes you memorable. It is what makes people say, I like the way that person speaks. So, how do we move from basic English to charismatic storytelling? The first secret is sensory details. Instead of just using abstract words, use words that describe what you saw, felt, heard, or smelled. Don't just say, the meeting was good. Say, the room was tense, the air was cold, but when I showed the results, I could see the excitement in their eyes. When you use sensory words, you pull the listener into your world. You aren't just giving them data, you are giving them a virtual reality experience in their mind. This is how you bypass their logical brain and speak directly to their emotions. The second secret is the power of the pause. We talked about silence in segment 5, but in storytelling, silence is your greatest ally. A charismatic speaker knows that the most important part of a story is the moment right before the climax. By pausing, you create tension. You make the listener lean in. You make them wonder, what happened next? In English, we call this the hook. If you rush your words, you lose the hook. If you master the pause, you own the room. The third element of storytelling is vulnerability. Most learners try to sound perfect. They want to show that they never make mistakes. But perfection is not charismatic. It's annoying. People connect with people who are real. Tell stories about your struggles, your failures, and how you overcame them. In the startup culture of Silicon Valley or the finance world of London, the comeback story is the most powerful narrative you can have. Use English to show your journey. Use words like struggled, overcame, realized, and transformed. This creates empathy, and empathy is the foundation of charisma. For those of you in English-speaking countries? You might think, I don't have interesting stories to tell in English. That's not true. Every day of your life is a series of stories. The storytelling hack is to start small. Practice telling the story of your day using the 3-act structure. 1. The setup. Where were you and what was happening? 2. The conflict. What went wrong or what was the challenge? 3. The resolution. How did it end or what did you learn? Even a story about getting stuck in traffic can be charismatic if you use the right rhythm and emotion. Remember, charisma is not about having a perfect accent. It is about energy. English is a high-energy language. If you speak with a monotone voice, your story will die. You must use voice modulation. Make your voice go high when you are excited and low when you are serious. Speed up when the action is happening, and slow down when you want to emphasize a point. When your voice matches the emotion of your story, your English becomes magnetic. In this 30-day fast track, segment 8 is where you find your voice. You are no longer just practicing sounds, you are practicing presence. You are learning that your English is a tool to influence, to inspire, and to lead. A millionaire's English is not just about grammar. It's about the impact of the message. As we finish segment 8, your task for today is this. Think of one small success you've had this week. It could even be something in this English challenge. Now, tell that story out loud in English. Use sensory details, use pauses, and focus on the conflict and resolution. Record yourself and listen back. Ask yourself, would I be interested in listening to this person? You are only 2 steps away from the finish line. You have become a thinker, a speaker, and now, a storyteller. You are building a version of yourself that can walk into any room in the world and be heard. In our next segment, segment 9, we will talk about the art of negotiation. How to use your new English skills to get what you want, whether it's a higher salary, a better deal, or a global partnership. We are going to turn your fluency into capital. Tell your story, claim your charisma, and I will see you in the next one. Segment 90. The Art of Negotiation. Using English to Build Wealth. We are just 2 days away from finishing this 30-day fast track. You have the mindset, the muscles, the vocabulary, and the charisma. But today, we turn those skills into financial power. In the global marketplace, from the tech hubs of London to the boardrooms of New York, English is the language of the contract. It is the language of the deal. If you cannot negotiate in English, you are leaving money on the table. You might be the best at what you do, but if you can't articulate your value, someone else who speaks better English will get the promotion, the client, or the investment. Today, we change that. We are going to learn how to use English as a tool for wealth creation. Negotiation is not about winning an argument. It is about navigating an agreement. To do this in English, you need a specific set of linguistic tools. The first secret of a wealth builder is conditional language. This is the use of if and then structures to create scenarios. Instead of saying, "I want $5,000, which sounds aggressive, a pro says, "If we can agree on these deliverables, then a fee of $5,000 would be appropriate." Using conditionals makes you sound reasonable and strategic. It shows the other person that you are willing to collaborate, but you also know your worth. In English, this is called being firm but fair. The second tool is the art of the pushback. Many learners from non-English-speaking countries find it hard to say "no" in English without sounding rude. So, they end up saying yes to bad deals. To build wealth, you must learn to disagree with polite authority. Use phrases like, "I appreciate that perspective. However, my data shows." Or, "That's an interesting offer, but I'm afraid it doesn't quite align with the value I'm providing." When you use these phrases, you are protecting your time and your money. You are telling the world that your English is not just for small talk, it is for big business. The third secret is mirroring. This is a psychological trick used by the FBI and top negotiators in the USA. Mirroring means repeating the last 2 or 3 words the other person said, but as a question. If a client says, "Our budget is very tight right now," you simply say, "Very tight?" This forces them to explain why, giving you more information and more power in the conversation. Information is the currency of negotiation. The more you listen and mirror, the more wealth you can attract. For those of you looking for global opportunities, you must master the value proposition. In English-speaking cultures, we don't care about how hard you work. We care about the results you bring. When you negotiate, don't talk about your effort. Talk about the impact. Use high-ROI words we learned in segment 5. Instead of, "I worked a lot," say, "I optimized the process which increased revenue by 20%. When you connect your English to a number or a dollar sign, your fluency becomes an investment, not just a skill. Remember, wealth in 2026 is global. You are no longer limited by the economy of your own city or country. With your new English skills, you can work for a company in Singapore while sitting in your bedroom. You can sell a product to a customer in Australia. But to do that, you must sound like a professional they can trust. Trust is built through clarity and consistency. When you speak clearly and you use the right negotiation etiquette, you remove the risk from the deal. You become the safe choice. In this 30-day journey, segment 9 is your ROI moment. Everything we have done, from shadowing to storytelling, has been leading to this. You aren't just learning to talk. You are learning to close. A millionaire mindset knows that communication is the most valuable skill in the world. As we finish this segment, I want you to look at your English as your global bank account. Every time you practice, you are making a deposit. Your task for today: imagine you are asking for a 20% raise or closing a deal with a high-value client. Write down 3. Then, conditional sentences for that negotiation. Practice saying them with a falling intonation of authority. Record yourself and hear the sound of a person who knows their value. Tomorrow is our final day. Segment 10. We will talk about the 30-day rebirth. How to maintain this momentum for the rest of your life, and how to never go back to being a student again. You are almost there. You are standing at the edge of a new life. I am Michael Carter. Negotiate with power, value your voice, and I will see you in the final one. Segment 130-day rebirth. Your future as a global speaker. We have made it. Today is day 30. Look back at the person you were 30 days ago. The person who was afraid of grammar rules. The person who hesitated before every sentence. The person who felt trapped in a non-English-speaking environment. That person no longer exists. Over the last 10 segments, you have undergone a linguistic and psychological transformation. You've burned your grammar books, built an English bubble, trained your speech muscles, flipped the mental switch, and learned to negotiate your way to wealth. Today, we aren't just finishing a challenge, we are celebrating your rebirth. But here is the truth that most teachers won't tell you: fluency is not a trophy you win and put on a shelf. It is a garden that you must continue to water. However, the hard part is over. You have already built the foundation. You have already rewired your brain. Now, your goal is to make English as natural as breathing for the rest of your life. You are no longer learning English, you are living in English. The first secret to maintaining this momentum is lifestyle integration. Don't go back to your old habits. Keep your English bubble intact. Whether it's 2026 or 2036, the world will only become more connected. Your edge in life will always be your ability to communicate across borders. Keep listening to those podcasts while you commute. Keep shadowing the leaders you admire. The Michael Carter Method is not a 30-day diet, it is a lifetime of high-performance habits. The second secret is community and contribution. Now that you have found your voice, use it. Don't just consume English. Create in English. Start a blog, a YouTube channel, or a LinkedIn newsletter. Join global communities of entrepreneurs, artists, or engineers. When you contribute your ideas to the world in English, the language stops being a subject and starts being a bridge. Every time you help someone or share an insight in English, your fluency deepens. You become a person of value in the global market. Third, I want you to embrace the never-ending journey. Even native speakers from the USA and UK are constantly learning new ways to express themselves. Don't be afraid of the gaps that are still there. You will still encounter words you don't know. You will still have days where your tongue feels heavy. That's okay. The difference is that now you have the tools to handle it. You have the power vocabulary to explain yourself. You have the charisma to keep people listening. And you have the mindset to never feel inferior again. Why did we do all this? Why did we push so hard for 1,000 words a segment, for shadowing, for storytelling? Because English is the key to the millionaire mindset. It is the language of freedom. It is the language that allows a person in a small village to work for a company in Silicon Valley. It is the language that allows you to read the greatest books, watch the best education, and connect with the most influential people on earth. By mastering English, you have effectively removed the borders around your life. You are no longer a citizen of one country. You are a citizen of the world. As we conclude this 30-day fast track, I want you to take a moment of silence. Feel the power in your throat. Feel the clarity in your mind. You have proven to yourself that you are capable of radical change. You have discipline. You have focus. You have the sound of success. Your final task for this challenge: write a short vision statement for your life for the next 12 months, entirely in English. Where will you be? What deal will you close? How will your English change your bank balance and your family's future? Read this statement out loud every morning. Let it be the first thing your English brain hears every day. This is the end of the series, but it is the beginning of your new life. The world is huge, it is wealthy, and it is waiting to hear what you have to say. Don't stay silent. Speak with power. Lead with charisma. Build your wealth. I am Michael Carter. It has been an honor to be your guide. Your 30-day rebirth is complete. Now, go out there and show the world who you've become. Goodbye for now. And I'll see you at the top.